I said at the time that I was going to stay until the end of 2013, and I suppose if the subcommittee had come up with someone that was younger, that hadn't had the experience and the wherewithal to do the job, there might have been a necessity to help someone put their feet under the desk for another 12 months. Clearly the man on my left does not need that. I believe there's only one king, and that's why the sensible, appropriate decision now, given that Peter was the person on top, to let him come and do what he needs to do, and that appropriate time is at this AGM.
I can only say that I love this club. I believe that I've got the credentials to, and the track record and the history to move it on. You know, I can understand people having all sorts of views about this, but I actually see it as myself as a sign of great maturity. We're looking for someone who has got experience at an AFL level, who's got experience in corporate governance and corporate management, who's got contacts in the business world, who's got a passion for the job. And you know, I spent a fair bit of time thinking about this, thinking about whether it was the right thing for me and whether it was the right thing for the club. I believe that it is. I've got some big shoes to fill. I think that there's a sense in which people take for granted the progress which the Western Bulldogs have made under David's leadership. And in some ways there's grown up a sense of, well, this might have all happened anyway. It wouldn't have happened anyway. It wouldn't have happened without the passion, the commitment and the intelligence and intuition that David has led. One of the aspects of this that I'm thrilled about is the opportunity to work with the AFL on an agenda of growing the Bulldog franchise in a cooperative way, because I think the sky's the limit, frankly. I was enormously impressed with the intellectual perspicacity of those three guys that I met on Monday with David. I think they have great ideas about growing the competition, and I want the Bulldogs to become a thought leader in relation to in relation to the ways in which to grow the competition and the individual franchises. Let's face it, every premier competition in the world, whether you're talking about the English Premier League or you're talking about the NFL, have bigger and smaller franchises. No one takes the precipitate step of cannibalising the smaller ones, because in the end you just end up with a weaker product as a whole. I've had a couple of chats to Dimmer over the last week. We've agreed that we'll catch up, and I'm sure that we will sometime over the next week. All Bulldogs are welcome back to the kennel, and all Bulldogs will be asked and in some ways expected to contribute what they can. Now, that may be different roles for different people, but when we're all working together, we're capable of achieving great things. So I don't have a closed door to any of our past greats, any of our past players, any of our past supporters, directors, presidents, boot studders, carriers of large Hessian bags carrying peanuts, the Hyde Street Band. Come on back. We are Greater Western Melbourne. Not going to change the name to that, but we represent, in importance, in scope and in regional coverage, to the western region of Melbourne, all of the importance which GWS does in Sydney. What I do say about it is that we need that name change to work harder for us. We need very much for the people who live in Hoppers, in Werribee, in Altona, in Melton, to understand that we are their team. And we understand that the onus isn't on them to just come to us. The onus is on us to work harder to reach out to them. So I support the name change, and I want those people who, like me, feel a great deal of sentimentality about that to understand that our mission is to grow our identification with the Western region, and we need to work harder to do it.
Well, I love going to the games. I'll continue going to the games with my children and my grandchildren. And I'm not going to be lost to the Bulldogs, but I'll just be going there wearing a different responsibility. But my commitment to this club will be ongoing. No, it won't involve any official capacity. I believe once you've done your best in your job, you move on. I've always said from day one that I want to look myself at the mirror whenever my time was up and say I gave it my all, and I believe I've done that in the best interest of the footy club. And now I've handballed the ball to Peter, or the board has handballed the ball to Peter, and I'll be there, I'll be loud and vocal, and I'll be one-eyed as I've always have been. I'll be able to barrack a little bit more than now that I know there's no TV cameras watching me. I'll be able to be myself.
And from our point of view, we will be making every effort to entice David back in every way and in every function. He's a really important part of our club, and we want to see as much of him as possible.